from Minnesota. I'm sorry I'm not there with you. I'm very sorry to the 3 members of my team that I can't be there. So remotely, I will talk you through the industry study. That was my portion of the waste management accounting scandal presentation. My job is to talk about, for the relevant time period, so from 1992 to 1997, my job is to talk about the industry that waste management was in, and some of their competitors, and sort of an overview of what, if anything, we can glean from that. So waste management was in the refuse systems industry. That is the standardized industrial classification name, the SIC code name, refuse systems industry. And the industry is interesting in terms of competitors, meaning there are different sorts of market participants or competitors in the industry. Think about it. Who takes care of your trash in the Capital District? In some areas, municipalities handle it. The town of Colony, when I lived in Colony, came and picked up my trash. Now that I live out in Schenectady County, rural Dwaynesburg, it is a private, local, or regional company that I pay to come get my trash, Bob's Roll-Off. And then competitors in the refuse systems industry also include large publicly held corporations such as Waste Management Incorporated. So when you look at the industry of refuse systems or waste management, what you see is that there are actually different types of competitors that include municipalities, towns that provide waste pickup, processing, disposal services. That being said, in terms of looking at competitors with respect to waste management from the 1990s, at the time of the accounting scandal, I picked peer competitors that were also publicly traded, large, nationally operating businesses. So waste management competed in that realm with Browning Ferris Industries, BFI. Waste Management also competed with USA Waste Services Incorporated during that accounting scandal time in question. So those were the two competitors and peers, in addition to Waste Management, that I looked at. All three of the companies are publicly traded and were publicly traded from roughly 1992-ish to 1997. So I was able to go to the SEC's website and pull up their financial statements, their 10Ks, their annual reports from those time frames. And I looked at their annual reports. I looked at the management's discussion of competition in their annual reports, and I looked at their financial ratios. In terms of the industry, the way that those three players, Waste Management, BFI, and USA Waste Services, looked at the industry, they looked at it as a fairly difficult industry in which to compete. Now you would say, wait a minute, Nowicki, there are only three big players in terms of publicly held corporations, businesses that are competing on a national level in terms of waste management. That's an oligarchy, right? That should be easy for those companies to compete. Reality is, however, that waste management was and is a difficult industry. Why? Because it's highly regulated. In 1991, for example, Congress overhauled how they regulate the waste management industry. There are significant costs of compliance. Waste Management, BFI, can't just take the trash that they collect and throw it anywhere, right? They have to jump through pretty rigid and stringent and costly regulatory hoops. In addition, they're competing against municipalities that are getting tax funds from the taxpayers. So the town of Colony took my money as a taxpayer every year, and they used that to subsidize their waste collection, whereas a private company, albeit publicly held like Waste Management, doesn't have that taxpayer subsidy. In addition, it's a difficult industry in terms of national costs, in terms of having an infrastructure, trucks. There are lots of mergers and acquisitions going on in the industry to try to capitalize on economies of scale and economies of scope. but mergers and acquisitions are disruptive and it becomes costly for the companies. So BFI, Waste Management, Inc., and USA Waste Services, Incorporated, they all went through various mergers and acquisitions to try to stay competitive, to try to grow their business, and those mergers and acquisitions were financially taxing and difficult. And indeed, when I looked at the financial ratios for all three companies, not just Waste Management, their struggles from 92 to 97 really bore that out. I looked at liquidity ratios, I looked at price ratios, I looked at profit-based ratios, and for all three companies, what I saw is that 92, 93, 94, they would maybe go up a bit in terms of success with financial ratios and then go down a bit. From 95, 96, 97, however, what we saw was all three of them in terms of liquidity, in terms of current ratio, in terms of profit margin, they all took huge hits. It was just a difficult time in a difficult industry. And I should say, by the way, that during that time period, of those three publicly traded national corporations that deal in the refuse systems industry, Waste Management was by far the biggest. So 1995, early 1996, BFI had a market capitalization of $1 billion. USA Waste Services, Inc. had a market capitalization of just above $6 billion. Waste Management had a market capitalization of $14 billion. That being said, all was not good in the industry. All was not easy in the industry. Waste Management chose to deal with those issues by accounting fraud. BFI, USA Waste Services did not. Sorry I can't be there. Thank you for listening.